How are you?
Happy birthday, Bree.
Thank you.
How are you, darling?
I am on the land of the living.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank
Broke
goodness.
down and bought a cough suppressant.
Yes.
And my doctor said, don't take it because you need to like cough it up. But I couldn't
Sleep. Yeah.
So I slept last night for the first time.
Oh God, you sound like Kathleen Turner too, honey. Like,
But that's okay. She's considered sexy, right?
exactly. Exactly. So,
a
wow.
sexy voice.
Have you ever done just a little bit of hot honey with hot tea with like a tablespoon of honey, but just in a little tiny bit of tea and just stirred that up? It's really good for calming down the throat and coughing. It does not work for 8 hours. It will work for a few hours, like maybe 3, something like that, enough to get you down into some good sleep until, you'll start coming back up again. But I get the whole the doctor wants it up, but I swear to God, I don't think there's anything worse than having to take an expectorant when you already are like, everything hurts and aches and you're hacking it all up anyway. It's like, yeah, I don't want to sleep ever. What's sleep?
What's sleep?
Coming from the girl, it took me, after Greg was in the hospital, it took me 3 nights to catch up on my sleep, which that is the longest I think I've ever had to take. Usually it's a night, maybe 2, you know what I mean? But usually after 1 good night's sleep, I know you're not really caught up, but I feel good. But yesterday I woke up and I was just like, oh, I'm so exhausted still, but today I got another good night's sleep, went to bed early last night, and I'm like, I was exhausted by like 9 maybe. And I'm like, I gotta go to bed. But I feel really good again today. So I'm like, 3 nights of bad sleep, 3 nights to catch up. So
Yeah,
it's
where
crazy.
you can do hot water with honey and a little lemon too.
Lemon.
Yeah, and some people throw in whiskey or whatever, but
Yes.
but you can just do plain old hot water with lemon and honey in there and drink that like it's a tea, and it really helps and soothes your throat.
Honey is really magical for what it will do. Honey's really good for your skin. It's really good. When my hair was completely fried, on someone's advice, I mixed conditioner, olive oil, and honey. And that's what I used on my hair for like maybe a year to finally get my hair back, because it looked like crunchy snow and was hellish looking, to finally get my hair back into condition again. It's just my daughter-in-law told me about, like, honey is just really good stuff. So hey, how's everybody doing? Let's hear some good stuff. And then I found a cool stat that my husband gave me that I blew my brains wide open. But
I woke up.
Okay, you're up. My good news is this: I went to the doctor yesterday, and when I woke up yesterday, like I said, I was tired still and just feeling run down, and for no reason, just kind of like low level sad, which was very weird. And so I told my husband, I woke him up and I'm like, I need a hug. And I don't normally go to him for that. I don't normally go to anybody. I just sort of kind of try and work through it, right? I'm like, screw this, I need a hug, get up. But I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know what this is, but it's okay, I'll live, whatever it is. And then I went to the doctor yesterday afternoon, and I went to the doctor mildly pissed, PF, because they can't get their crap together. And I'm like, if you don't, I'm getting my stuff and I'm getting it out of here. I'm done with y'all. And I went to a new doctor in the same group though. And they said, this is what you have. This is what you need. You're in massive pain. It's like, well, no crap. I've been telling you guys that for 4 years. So apparently I know what it is now. I need a hip replacement surgery. I'm so down with this. I'm like super excited to finally get going on it. I've got the worst level arthritis you can have in your hip, plus bone spurs all the way around, and no hip socket anymore. It's like flat and bone on bone. And I'm like, well, now that did not seem like that was all that damn hard to figure out. So let's go get it taken care of. So, and I asked them, I'm like, walker, cane, what am I on? And they're like, if you have good balance, you're not on anything. You get up and walk. I'm like, oh, cool. I know. So now I'm going to take the next 6 weeks, I think, before the surgery, whenever I can get it done. I'm going to just really, really, really work on the one leg that's really good and really work on balance on that leg. And so it's going to be in Palm Beach. But we have a concert. I'm going to see if I can time this out. The concert's on the 12th in Palm Beach. And if it works out right, we'll go to the concert, I'll stay, and then I'll get the surgery done. I got to figure out the dates and see if that's going to work or not. My husband's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, hell yes, I can. I can party at a concert the day before and then go do surgery. So we'll see, but that's my good news. And I'm very excited about it. So what do you guys got?
I got to take off the wrap on my breast yesterday.
Yay.
Don't you want to share that with a group? Jeez.
I imagine a wrap does not feel good.
No, it doesn't.
So I'm like, good job. I think that's a good thing. All right. Now, Bree didn't say anything, y'all, but yesterday was her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Bree.
Exactly.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
She's 29.
Yes.
That's right. Yep.
And gorgeous.
Yes, exactly. So, all right. Who else has got some good news?
I have a inspection today. So renegotiated the
EMD.
earnest money
Yep.
and was brutally honest with my client. And here we go.
Good. It feels good to be real, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yep. Yep. I find also that if I really had to do a hard talk, there's sometimes I will actually ask permission. And then if they
Right.
say yes, like we're unloading, so
Right.
once in a while I'll use that trick also, or that technique also. Well, let's call it a trick, whatever. All right. Congratulations, darling. Who else has some good news?
I picked up 2 new buyers yesterday for land.
Oh, damn.
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
To get them.
Sphere of influence.
Nice.
Yeah.
You and Bree, it would be interesting to put the two of you together and actually run a contest on how much you could get out of your sphere, because I have never seen 2 people pull more out of their sphere ever.
I think it's just finally coming back around, some people that I've been in touch with and known for years.
Right.
And now it's just finally coming, starting to get the fruit from the relationships.
Someone said this about Glenn Sanford, the owner of EXP. He deposited good stuff into human beings for 25 years. And then when it turned around and it came time, it wasn't Glenn Sanford, I'm sorry. It was Albie in our upline. That's way up high in our upline. It makes $250,000 a month, or more probably now. He deposited it for 25 years into people, and then it came back. When he was ready to build, it came back. And I like that. I really like that.
I'm sorry.
No, don't.
That struck my memory. So yesterday I went to an event that EXP held in Greenville. It was an EXP event called Iron Sharpens Iron. They had about 6 different speakers there. One lady, I got there late, so she was already up. Her name was Tina something. I don't remember her name. There's another guy from North Carolina. He was like one of the top agents in Remax. He came over. He's been with EXP for a while. Another guy. But anyway, all of them are making 6 figures a month from RevShare. Yeah.
Yep. 6 figures a month from RevShare.
Yeah. And they all told their stories, and it was amazing.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So was it just an EXP event, or was it open
No.
to other realtors?
It was open to everybody. But they did sell tickets. It was $25 a ticket.
Mhm.
So it was actually a lot of other realtors from other companies there. So it was really well. And Tina, she mentioned how when she was being recruited, she was just like, no, I'm not going to that company. They get on my nerves. They've been recruiting me for, I'm just sick of them. And then someone sat down and someone she trusted
Yep.
sat down and showed it to her, and she was like, no brainer.
That is a beautiful statement, because I was talking with Marcus at Success Wednesday, and I said, the people that are coming into coaching, where they're coming from, and he goes 2.5 to 1 from our spheres, us as coaches bringing them in, versus 1 from the marketing efforts that they're doing. So 2.5 to 1 is the ratios that they're running through. And I thought that was really interesting. Yesterday on the way to the doctor, I had a friend who had called me when I was a team leader in Virginia. So I met her in 2011. Anyway, she called me up, and she's like, a week ago or whatever, right before Gray went in the hospital. And I did not get back to her until yesterday. And so when I was talking to her, she's like, she just was going through this swirling. I've got this opportunity and that one, and I don't know what to do. And this is not going da 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 da. And I'm like, funny that you should say that, because I think you need to start with who you are. And she was like, I'm like, yep. And I said, actually, I'm starting a class. That class is going to go in January. It's going to be through Success Magazine. And she was like, send me the link, sign me up, I'm in. It's my first sale without putting anything out there yet, or doing anything, with no promotion start. I still am working on the 6th class to get that built, which will be done by this weekend. And I already have my first paying client, because it's my sphere and she knows me. And when they know you, they know that you're not going to hurt them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. That's a great story. So, all right. Who else has got some good stuff? I am looking at you, smiling PF. Yeah, you got.
Come on, Pedro.
You do. You do have good stuff.
No, I don't. Not today.
Yeah, you do.
No. Yeah,
Be real. What you got?
this week has been the most people interaction that I've had in months. So, I've been running on low battery for a while.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
what rejuvenates you? What is it that gives you? How do you fill your batteries?
A long time.
A long time alone, a long time reading, a long time traveling, a long time in a bathtub, a long time with wine. I mean, like a long time what?
Oh,
Oh, alone time.
alone.
I said a long time.
Go to the movies.
Oh,
I'm gonna do it.
alone
Nobody's
time.
there.
How do you,
Nobody's there.
how can you carve out some alone time? Because
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Start here that way. Yeah.
No, I did. I went to bed really early last night.
Yay.
So
So, and that's what you needed, right?
I shut down the world, and I slept all night long. Yeah,
Oh,
so that was
yeah,
good.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's how I started before you got on. That's literally how I started. I slept last night. So that's some of my good news. I flipping slept. It was awesome. 3 slept. We're at that age where we slept. Woohoo!
I know, it's crazy.
It's so true. Oh my gosh. All right. That is really, really good. I saw a meme the other day that said, I like to play this game where I get up early to drink my coffee alone before the kids, and the kids like to take that away from me. And I'm like, oh. But that's something that I do, is go to bed earlier, and then I get up early and I have my alone time in the morning. Every morning it's just peace and quiet and me, and I drink my coffee, and I like 2 cups of coffee by myself. That is just that's what I like. The 3rd cup
Not one,
interrupt
not
me.
3, 2.
Yeah. I like 2 cups. If I just get 1, all right, fine. If I get none, I'm not good, but I like 2. So, Miss Liz, are you in a place where you can talk?
Yes.
Yes.
How is everybody this morning?
We're
Good.
good. You make us
I don't know that I have good news, but I guess it's kind of like Gina's news in the sense that I found out I was trying to do Gary's community college program.
I missed that.
And in looking at the largest community college, organization here in Northern Virginia, they are not taking entries for new submissions at this time. So I was disappointed at that, and they don't know when they're going to restart them in the future. So I was disappointed in that because I wanted to do his program anyway and thought about maybe just like listening in and seeing what it's all going to be about. But it actually was a gift because it tells me that I need to keep directing my efforts toward the affordable housing programs that are working and progressing and not distract from that. So I'm going to stick in the lane there and try to do the transition housing program with the off-campus housing departments at the universities instead.
Liz, I really love that because from the very beginning, since I've met you, that has been your great work and your great passion. So I really love that about the direction that you're going.
Thank you.
Welcome. I think that rings true to you. So, all right. Thank you guys. Yeah.
You know,
All right. I'm going to share a screen with you. My husband told me this, his office is right over there. And he told me this yesterday and I was like, he just was reading the stats to me and I'm like, send that to me. Like, I want to see that. And the stats started off with 62% of companies do not ever return phone calls, customer service phone calls. 62%. I was like, and he's frustrated because he tries to contact customer service companies all the time, trying to, do whatever, say whatever, you know what I mean? And it's not just to complain, it's all kinds of stuff that he's trying to reach out for customer. He's like, I want to give you money, but it's confusing on whatever this is, or, I want to build this and, you have it. Can I talk to something? Nothing. And it happens all the time. And he lives in a world that doesn't operate that way. So he has that low level frustration thing about it, but 62% of the companies. So here's the second stat. Let me share this with y'all. Here's the second stat. Check this out. This one says companies that believe they provide a superior service, 80%. When they polled them, 80% of companies thought they provide superior service. 8% of customers believe they receive superior service. 8
Out of that same group?
This
Or
is
in general?
This is pulling the companies. The companies said 80% of them said we provide superior service, and then switching over and polling customers. And I don't know if there's a one-on-one match, like the customer to the company, or if it's just customers in general. I don't know. Hang on. Send a customer service to each company 2 questions about how fast the companies responded. So that's how they got the company side, 2 questions to see how, and then the tone and everything. Let me see. 62% of companies do not respond to customer service emails. That's what it is. 90% do not acknowledge or inform the customer that an email has been received. 97% do not follow up with customers to see if they're satisfied. Only 20% of companies are able to answer questions on the first reply, and the average response time is 12 hours and 10 minutes. And that's all the further it goes. This blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. And we hear also, there's a similar stat, I should have pulled it before this, but there's a similar stat with real estate agents where something like, I don't know, 88% or something like that of clients said that they would use their agent again, but the stat is very low and it's in the teens, I believe, of people who actually do use the agent the second time. And it's because, well, actually, I'll throw it out there. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we have this huge thing between companies or agents, and we are companies, and actually the response rate and getting back into our clients?
We don't continue to reach out to them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just fear, I think, or getting busy on the flip side,
Yeah. So is there stuff in, okay, so I'm going to be really honest in my business. This last week, I've not returned any phone calls this last week. So I probably have a stack of the dang things to go through. I haven't even opened them up and looked because my system's set up to automatically remind me when I have to do my return phone calls. And I haven't. I literally have not done it. I have instead, and it's just, I mean, my husband's in the hospital and that's a legit, like, fine, that's what I dealt with. But since then, I could have taken time and done it, and I didn't. I focused my time and energy in another direction, and that sucks. And that's not okay, you know? And I find in my real estate side of it, so on my side, the recruiting side, for me is the real estate side of it, that I don't put it top priority. I will fit it in where I can fit it in. And I know that because I get caught up roughly, God, there was a while there where I wasn't getting caught up at all. It was this big, huge beast that I could not get caught up to. But now I get caught up probably at least every week I get caught up. This week I haven't gotten up, but it's Friday. But usually by every week I can get myself caught back up again. But I'm still not putting it, when I put in the computer, if I had it at top priority and it said, call somebody on Wednesday, I would flip and call them on Wednesday. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't call them until Thursday or Friday, and I get caught up again with my phone calls. So just to be really honest with myself, there's two things that I believe need to happen. The first thing is it needs to get on my calendar. And the second thing is I need to switch out what I am saying with people of I will, and switch out. So I'm going to be reaching out to you this upcoming week, because that's reality. Now the book appointment from an appointment, the BAM fam that I do, if I do that, book an appointment from an appointment, and I actually say I will call you at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, that goes in my calendar and I will call you at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. So I think that's probably the third thing I need to build in is BAM fam everybody. And if they can't BAM fam because they're resistant, then I'm just going to let them know, look, I'm going to reach out to you during this week. But really, really, I need to work on BAM famming people as I'm processing through this, what I'm doing.
I'm wondering, though, I'm not making an excuse, but I'm wondering, though, if it is an issue also of bandwidth, because from the client perspective, they're only making one phone call. They're calling only calling one source, one spot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
from my perspective, I'm calling multiples.
It's one to many.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one to many.
So my perception would be like, oh, okay, I'm catching up, or I am somewhat maintaining some rhythm in maintaining contact with people. But the perception of those people is like, oh, he only calls me once a year.
See, okay, that's really good. There's perception in here. There's massive perception. You're right, PF. And I hadn't thought about it. And okay, so then the question is, what do we want the perception to be? Because we are in charge. Us. We're in charge.
That's why I brought it up, because I don't know the answer.
Well, I'm not queen of all the answers either. What do you guys got?
So you mean how to change the perception?
Yeah, or even what perception do I want people to have? And then what do I do to make sure that is the perception that is out there? Is because it's that walking in somebody else's shoes and looking at it from their point of view, which changes. And it doesn't matter what's right or what's wrong. It matters what we perceive, because that's what it is. That's what is. What we perceive is what is.
That 8% that got good customer service.
Yeah. Yeah. We perceive our reality is literally what we think our reality is.
That's true.
What's the phrase? Perception is everything. That's the phrase. Perception is everything.
Yeah.
Because if I perceive the cloud, it's a completely blue sky here today, and it's probably going to be 80 degrees. But if it's half cloudy, I can perceive that as cloudy or blue, and it is for me. It absolutely is. And if anyone gotten an email that they thought had a tone in it? Does that ever happen to y'all where you're like, there's a tone in this email, and then try and reread it with a different tone and like stick an emoji in there that's not in there and go, oh crap, it could read two ways. Or reread your own email and read it. Oh my gosh, I've so done this. I was put together an email and then before I send it, I will read it in a nasty tone of voice to see if it can tone out bad. And I'm like, you know, because I don't want that. I don't, you know, I want whatever tone I want in there, but it's perception on the other side of it.
Hmm.
So how do we build a perception of so that people feel like they're in the 8%?
Maybe it's along the lines of what you were just telling us a little while ago about saying if I'm going to call you on Wednesday, I'm going to make damn sure that I call you on Wednesday. So could it be like maybe pushing the horizon a little bit further, or like learning more about where my horizon should be? It's like, I don't know, I guess maybe it's like measuring more about how is it that I'm responding? How quickly am I responding? And then noticing more like how is that landing on the other side? Is like, what's my ratio of promise and delivery?
Bam,
It's like,
bam. Yeah.
It all boils down to that stupid call stuff. You got to make this many calls for this to happen,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and I think for me in this space, I've tried to readjust expectations for myself and everyone else, like Gina was talking about, because what I found is like, I just need to slow down and stop running by these deadlines of so many calls and so many minutes and blah, 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 because that's causing me anxiety and stress. And then when I'm showing up for the call, I'm not present at all. So I haven't mapped this out yet, but I've gone to like categorizing my calls in my sphere for who I'm going to call on and when I'm going to call them. And I think and I try to touch everyone at least once a quarter. I touch different parts of my sphere at least once a quarter. And then one thing I'm mapping out for the new year is between the calls is just, and not the calls about real estate, just the calls about how are things going, touching base with them personally. And then in between, maybe sending something like, I know Laura does a newsletter every month, and I don't know that I have the bandwidth to do something like that, but just maybe a touch via email or something in between the calls once a quarter. I don't know that I have the bandwidth to do anything more than that with what I've got going on, but I just found that for myself, I need to slow down, because otherwise I'm running to these timelines that aren't making sense. And then I'm not showing up the way I want to. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I'm just running through a list instead of, offering what I want to offer, having the conversations I want to have.
Touching instead of touching. That's good. That's
Yeah.
very
This might sound funny, but I was in Sam's Club at the pharmacy this past week, and one of the pharmacists had a birthday this past week also, and I needed to go get a script. So I went by, I dropped that off. I walked away, went over to the cafe and bought sundaes for everybody that was back there.
Oh.
And came back and brought them to the staff that was back in the pharmacy and said, here you go. And they, oh, you should know all that kind of stuff, and smiling, and somebody else showed up. So I had to go get another one. But I said, it was your birthday. You have to. I said, and besides that, if you know somebody that wants to sell or buy or whatever, you can call me. So I threw that in at the end, but things that you work with and people that or acquaintances that you do businesses with, sometimes doing something simple like that makes a difference instead of being on the phone call.
I really love that, because as Liz was talking, one of the things that struck me is time, is just taking time. Like this morning, I really felt moved to throw a text out to a couple of people of just, I appreciate you, and here's exactly why I appreciate you. Don't respond. It's all good. Just know that, I appreciate you for this specific thing. And in my life, I don't prioritize that because I prioritize doing over being, and I don't like that about me. And I don't want that perception of me because it's not really my heart. I just feel pressure off the doey stuff, which is stupid. So I think just taking the time to be, it's okay. So my mother-in-law was talking and she was feeling kind of sad because she said, my granddaughter, her great granddaughter is 5 years old, and she goes, I don't feel like I do anything. Like I don't do enough for Ophelia because she can't, because she's physically not able. She's on a rollator thing and all. Just physically can't do it anymore. And I'm like, don't you remember what you wanted from your grandma or great grandma when you were little, when you were 5 or 4 or 6 or whatever? And she goes, well, my grandma cooked a lot. I'm like, okay. And she goes, really just like spending time with her. And I'm like, yeah, that's all I ever wanted from my grandma too. My grandma was this whirlwind of activity all the time, but I would work with her or be with her while she was doing the stuff that she was doing. But my memories of my grandma that are fabulous and wonderful are just time. That's all. It wasn't anything that she ever did that I can remember or was important or anything like that. It was just her, and how she lived her life. And I really loved her and spending time with her. And that is what impacted me. I'm like, I don't think you have to be the do grandma, I cook with my grandkids and we play games. And I'm fun grandma. I'm also inappropriate grandma, but that's another story.
That's gonna be me.
The inappropriate.
grandpa.
Yeah, because it's fun. It's really fun. I'm like, if you can't laugh at kids, why the hell did you have them? I mean, they're
Yeah,
hilarious,
absolutely.
it makes me laugh. I mean, it really makes me laugh. And I do say things that are inappropriate. Or my son will turn, like my grandson, he's 11, and maybe he's 10. Good God, Jen, I really got to get this straight. He's 10. Anyway, I will say things that, and my son is like, don't listen to her, because he doesn't know what the phrase means or anything. And it's hilarious, but yeah, he's like, don't do that. We were talking, this is so inappropriate, and I'm going to say it anyway. We went out shopping, we were buying stuff to make dinner, and we were doing, I wanted to get a really good loaf of like hand crafted bread kind of thing. So I wanted to do garlic bread. So we got some rosemary, garlic stuff. But anyway, I was squeezing all the different bread to find one that was soft, because some of them felt like, a little bit older. And so he goes, are you pinching those? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you have to pinch a loaf to know if it's good or not. And my son's like, don't listen to her. And he's like, I can't believe you said that. And I'm like, we were talking about a loaf of bread. It was like a natural thing. And he's like, Mom, you're so inappropriate. And I'm like, kid doesn't know. And he goes, he's going to go to school and he's going to say something. I'm like, that's, it'll be in school. I'll be long gone across the country. And he's like, Mom.
You're the
Anyway.
Wonder Bread kid.
Yeah, exactly. So I am inappropriate grandma. But anyway, that's not a story. But it goes back to time. It just goes back to time and taking the time. And for me, this is just me personally. I need to either book a meeting from a meeting, and that goes on my calendar, and that's fine, because I make sure I block out enough time to be able to delve into the person and who they are, because I care. And I want that to be the perception. And then on the other side of it, I need to prioritize it and maybe switch up what I'm saying. Instead of, I'm going to call you on Wednesday. If I can't get a book a meeting from a meeting, if I can't get a time, then I'm going to just switch it over to, I'm going to call you next week, because that's the reality. I will call every week and get caught up. I'm not as good, with, said I call on Wednesday, and sometimes my Wednesdays get booked up. So that's just me, what I want to do, because I want to be perceived as the person, the 8%. I want my people to feel that. I want everybody I interact with to feel that, because that's how I feel.
Yeah. So what about like the perception of yourself? Like for me, I have clients and they say, oh, you did such a great job, and we appreciate you. And I still feel like I missed something, like I didn't do something.
Did you ask them?
No, I let them gloat. I should. I thought about doing a survey afterwards. But yeah, it just always seems like, you know how when you leave home, you think, I know I left something. And that's sort of how I feel when I'm done with the transaction.
I feel that way a lot too. And sometimes I just have taken it as if they didn't give me any sort of specific feedback via a survey or, a communication that I had with them, then what I am missing is something that I think I'm missing based on my own expectation on how I thought that I served them, and they've given me the feedback that I've served them.
Yeah.
So maybe I missed something in my own growth that I was looking for in that transaction that didn't happen. And I just look for it again in the next one. Like, it might be out there, but I'm not going to second guess the service I provided, because I got the confirmation from them that I served them as best as I could, or sufficiently exactly where they were. It's kind of like me letting go my expectation of how things are going to go versus how the people I'm working with are receiving it and perceiving it. And so unless they tell me something flat out or, directly, either right after or shortly thereafter, I just have to get off my own thinking of, I should have done more, I missed something, and you look for the next one, if that helps at all.
Yep, it does. Thanks.
Also, is it undefinable, or is there a specific thing that you're missing every time? You know what I mean? Is it undefinable, or is there a,
No,
like-
I think it's undefinable.
oh, then I would agree with Liz completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's very different than, I always intend to do whatever I want to intend to do and then don't ever do it. And then, like, this was my mark I set and I didn't.
Mhm.
But if it's an undefinable thing, yeah, that's very interesting, because I know I felt that before in times, and I don't know why or what that is. I haven't felt it in a long time. An undefinable miss the mark thing. I don't know. I got to think on that one for a while. That's a good question, Craig.
I think it's probably part of us always wanting to be better, to make sure that we hit everything. And like I said, and also that we can be better. How can we improve,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. And I also think, like, we know, like, stuff maybe in the process or the system somewhere that we might have missed or didn't encounter during a certain transaction, but the people we're servicing don't always know the full landscape. So if they tell me, what you provided was sufficient, it was great, thank you very much, then I have to just let go of my own thoughts about, well, I didn't get to this place and this place and this place. Because like you said, Kathy, I think that you're absolutely right. I'm always looking to grow and expand into something, but they don't know that. Like, the people I'm servicing don't know where those other areas are. So if it doesn't pop up, then it just didn't pop up. That we did our best with what we have.
Yeah. Thanks.
God, yeah, thank God. Another thing is the bar is so flipping low, it's not even funny. So I love that we're always growing and improving and getting better and honing our skills and all those good things. Bar is really down low. Another thing that made me think of also, I realized that my expectations of what I was trying to provide were not what my clients wanted anyway. And I was contacting too frequently, way too frequently, instead of giving people some time to process. And so I switched around, and I wasn't systemized at all. And so it was a nightmare, because every day was like 30 or 40 phone calls. I could never get caught up. And after David, my accountability buddy, because every week I'm like, I'm not caught up. I'm not caught up. He was like, how many flipping times are you going to tell me this before you figure out that you need to do something to change? And I was like, he's right. And I've restructured how often I talk to people and what is happening. And I systemized it, and it runs. And now it runs. And I find that the people, they're not dodging my phone calls anymore. They actually want to hear from me, because it's not so flipping frequent. So that was also a problem of an unsystemized, where my expectations were here and theirs are here, and they're appropriate in this situation because they only want me here. This is where they want me. They just want me to meet me where they are. That's all. And I wasn't doing that. I was like, no, come here, Well, nobody likes that. We want to be met where we want to be met. You know, I don't want you to harass me. I want you to meet me where you meet me, where I want to be met, my 8%. So I think that was a component of it also. I needed to get systemized for me to be able to do it and I was providing a lower level of service, ironically, by giving that much. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I hadn't
Wow.
thought about it that way, but
You became that EXP pest.
oh, it was horrible. I EXP'd, and I never want to EXP. I don't want to be, I don't want to be that person. I really don't, ever, 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 ever. So I let people be where they are and it's okay. And I meet them where they want to be met. And that is my goal. So I'm not going to say I'm perfect at it because not. But my goal is to meet them where they are. And part of that would be if I say I'm going to call you on flipping Wednesday, switching that around, I'm going to call you during the week so that I do call you during the week. Not on flipping Wednesday if I'm not going to be able to, if I know I can't make it half the time. This is my calendar. My calendar will fill up to where it's like back to back to back to back to back. And I'm like, it's not happening today. So I need to not promise that. So that's my thing that I'm going to take into this next week. I'm going to stop promising I'm going to call you on flipping Wednesday unless we book an appointment. Other than that, I'm going to call you during the week. Period. I know. Thank you
I
guys.
love that. Because it's congruent with what Liz was also saying. Because and Craig, because then we put on that extra pressure on ourselves because like, oh, I said I was going to call yesterday and now it's Thursday and now it's Friday and it's like, oh, now I'm falling behind.
Yeah.
But
And I'm sucking.
yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to suck.
And like what Catherine said in the text, how we feel affects everything. So then the next time I finally call, instead of saying, hey, Gina, I'm calling you to say hi, how's it going? It's like, the first thing I say is, I'm sorry. And
Yeah.
it's like, why are you sorry?
Yeah. I don't want to show up that way. I don't want to show up that way. I want to show up excited and happy and ready to get to know somebody and find out what direction they want to build their life and see what I can do to help them. Because the reality is what we give, we're givers. And just like we started off with Albie gave for 25 years and then it came back, we're givers. So I'll tell you this little story and then I will let you go on per Bree. You just look so tired, sweetheart. I love you, darling, but you really look tired. I pay it backwards actually at Starbucks. And I don't say that because I want any kudos because that's not what it's about. I do it purely selfish because it makes me feel good to pay for somebody behind me in line Starbucks. And I've done it a lot. And actually it started off one time because I had this free drink ticket at my coffee shop in Virginia, Aromas, I think it was called, or whatever.
No,
I'm
we got
already.
them almost.
Do you?
Yep.
So it was my coffee shop. They named a drink after me. They named a Gina drink. But anyway, that's another story. But they gave me a free coupon one time, so many punch card kind of a thing, and I had a free drink. And so I paid for my drink, but I just slid it up onto the counter and I'm like, pay for the person behind me. And it was very down low, and then walked out. And that card, I found out, went backwards to the line for hours. And I've loved that story, right? And I'm like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever, because you never know what giving is going to do. You have no idea. So at Starbucks, a lot of times, especially in drive-thrus, I'll just pay for the person behind me. And 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I was getting ready to go through Starbucks and my card on my phone was down. The balance was really low. And what had happened was I had a credit card that they sent me a new credit card. And so that one got canceled. So it didn't reload my Starbucks because that happens automatically. And I didn't have the time. I didn't take the time to sit there and punch in the new stupid card, right? So I got up to Starbucks and I'm like, screwballs. I don't think I have enough money to pay for my coffee. And then, but I have 12,000 points, right? 12,000 stars. Right? I know, it's ridiculous. So I went up and I was like, I'll just use stars for my coffee. And so I went up to go use my stars and she handed me my drink and she goes, the person in front of you paid for your drink. I'm like, oh. And it was right when I needed it. It was exactly when I needed it. I know. And it's a little teeny tiny thing, But it was really, really a blessing. And then on my card's reloaded now because I was like, screw that, fix that thing. And then yesterday I went to Starbucks to get coffee on the way home from the doctor's office for my husband because he wanted a cup of coffee. And I said, hey, I'll use Stars because I'll get him a big one. He drinks big ones. I'm a waste of Stars because my coffee cup's this big. And I go to the guy, this is just a funny, and I'll let go. And I'm like, hey, can I use Stars for one of those drinks? And he looks, he goes, yes, is that 12,000 stars? And I'm like, yes. He goes, it's there. No, it's not that. It's the Visa, it gives them to you for everything you do. And I just let them stack up because someday I might need them, you know? It's like, he's like, is that 12,000? Yes, it's 12,000 stars.
I mean,
You're in
Are they
trouble if they expire.
They
They never
expire on a
expire.
yearly basis. I
They
mean,
never expire when you have a Visa, a Starbucks Visa card, they never expire.
oh,
You and I were
Well,
thinking the same thing, yeah.
oh.
At
On
100,
another note, I hope you're considering investing in Starbucks since the stock market's low and you should probably be able to get some good stock
should grab
with the
some.
amount of
Amount of
patronage.
support.
You might as well get a rate of return on their stock when it goes back up too. My goodness.
My husband bought me this. It says Strong Like Coffee. He found it's an official Starbucks pin. There was a girl, he just got me this. There was a girl wearing it on her apron thing. It's Strong Like Coffee. And I'm like, is that an official pin? And she's like, yes. And so my husband went on eBay and found me the official Starbucks Strong Like Coffee. And I'm like, yes.
Oh, you
Love
should
it.
have told me. My son works at Starbucks. So let me know.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
offers to get me coffee drinks or anything, but he works there and I'm sure I could get a discount for somebody else.
Probably could. Because you're right. I should get stock. So
Liz,
anyway,
Yes, you
found
should.
out-
Goodness, Gina.
I'm from Seattle, man.
PF will appreciate this though. I'm a Dunkin' Donuts girl. Through and
Yes.
through.
Oh, I do
Oh.
both.
Yeah, no, don't forget that. Don't forget, one of these things is not like the other, and don't forget that Liz is a Dunkin' girl, because both of those are gonna come up.
Okay.
You shall see, both of these are gonna come. All right, you guys, so on that note, this is how we need to be with our clients, so our clients feel that we are strong like coffee. And that we give them the amount of service that they want so that they are in the 8%. And that 100% of our clients, or at least 95, because there's always 5 people that we'll never get that are not, that drink Dunkin'. But the rest of them need to know that they are in that 8%. So,
Maybe we should do a questionnaire when we're first meeting people and say, what do you need from me? How do you want me to communicate?
rather than a questionnaire, how about you ask?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you gotta start somewhere and
Yeah,
have a list, you know? That's
Your
why I said a
buyer-
questionnaire.
yeah, your buyer's intake and your
Okay.
stock intake is all about expectations and laying them down. And if that is something that is important to you, I would absolutely add that in face-to-face. It's a great.
Mhm.
And you know, and this is how I do this. Here's what to expect. Because knowing what they expect, maybe that would be a great thing, Mr. Craig, with your undefinable feeling of not providing,
Amazing. Yeah.
knowing their expectations right up front. This is what we expect. Hey, this is how it works. What you
Yeah.
got with PF? Desk notes?
Oh, no, I was just moving something around. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it got in the camera.
It's like, I wonder sometimes what gets in the camera, because sometimes I'm like, is my iPad that I'm on down here? Not for these meetings, other meetings, actually in the, no, it's below. I have to get it all the way up to, oh, good to know. All right, you guys, have an amazing week and weekend. God bless you all. I hope that, I know that your clients know that they're in the 8% because I know where the bar is and I know what you guys do also. So I know your clients feel that way. It's an amazing thing. Proud to be in business with y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thanks
day.
so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Okay,
And happy birthday,
Bye-bye.
Goody.
thank
Yes.
Birthday,
you.
Bree. Feel
Thank
better.
you.
Yes, feel better.